Bed of sports. My name is Wahiga Mora. Let's get started. And Technical University of Kenya were crowned the champions of the SportPesa Super 8 football tournament, beating Kiambu 4-2 on penalties. In the final played at the Nyayo National Stadium, TUK, representing the west side area of Nairobi, showed their championship medal, edging Kiambu from the east side. Lucy Ndiguri now recaps the final.
The journey to the final for both teams began last April and climaxed at the Nyayo National Stadium Sunday afternoon, where bragging rights would be determined between a team representing the east of Nairobi and a side from the opposite end of the capital. Technical University of Kenya represented the west, while Kiambu stood tall for the east. 12 minutes into the game, Kiambu's Lawrence Musili gave the eastern side the perfect start, sliding one past TUK's keeper Paul Maina. 13 minutes later, Kiambu responded when team captain Boniface Okomo netted the equalizer. The scoreline was level, 1-1 at the interval. In the second half, Collins Oduor broke the deadlock with Kiambu's second goal. The riposte was immediate as Tony Sodhiambo struck TUK's equalizer. The scoreline remained unchanged and the victor would be decided via penalties, a similar situation that had been witnessed in the semi-finals. TUK ticked all the right boxes as they scored all their 4 penalties, while Kiambu could only score 2 but missed 2.
It was not an easy game because if you look at like 15 minutes first half, we were like we are not there.
Technically, I think there are some mishaps, but we always say that the best team wins because we had prepared well.
Now 4 months and 102 teams later, Technical University of Kenya have bagged the title and the bragging rights of the 9th edition of the Super 8 tournament. For Citizen Sports, I'm Lucy Dinguri.
Well done, Lucy Dinguri. I'm told that's how Julie Gishuru started, and you can see where she is now. Meanwhile, and elsewhere rather, it was a low-scoring final at the Prince Lou Sevens as Nakuru RFC beat Homeboy 7-5 to lift the main cup title in Nakuru. Geoffrey Ominde scored the host's only try 3 minutes from halftime to give his side the lead at the break. Homeboy struck back in the second half, but Augustine Lugonzo failed to convert the try to send the match into extra time. In the plate final, Cabras left Kenya Harlequins with a bitter taste in their mouth, beating them 28-12. Black Blood stand Western Bulls to lift the bowl. The shield was won by Catholic monks. Across the borders, 5 Kenyan riders learnt an invaluable lesson at the Haute Route bike endurance race in France as they posted mixed results in the amateur bike race that covers over 800 kilometers. 2 Kenyan riders, that is Joseph Gishora and Ayub Kathurima, each won one of the 7 stages as they tackled the tough course battling steep terrain and long distances to put Kenya on the global cycling map. Bernard Ndong tells us that story.
It is termed as one of the toughest amateur cycling events. It's a race that charts its way through some of the highest, steepest cycling terrain. Riders are pushed to their physical and mental limits and gain the opportunity to ride like the professional cyclists. Kenya had a contingent of 5 cyclists with a very unique background, according to their head coach Simon Blake, who has been involved in Kenyan cycling for 5 years. For some of them, cycling was a means of earning a livelihood and not as a competitive sport.
A lot of Kenyan cyclists come from this hustling background, from bicycle taxi operators, and yeah, they earn very small money. But we're trying to introduce the culture of competitive cycling and just enjoying cycling.
The Kenyan cyclists were participating in the Haute Route Pyrenees, which had 7 consecutive stages. They were led by Ayub Kathurima, one of the most experienced cyclists. He was joined by Geoffrey Langat, Stanley Rope, Joseph Gishora and Geoffrey Panyako.
The reason we chose Haute Route again for the Pyrenees in 2015 was because of the climbing. We feel that if we can get a really good block of competitive climbing into them for a whole week, that they may benefit them later in the year or next year or through their cycling career.
Many of the Kenyan cyclists were nurtured into the sport through the Black Mamba bicycles that are a common feature in Iten, an area renowned for producing athletics world beaters.
That's the Black Mamba. It's a big, heavy Chinese or Indian-made bike, weighs between 17 to 20 kilograms. It's a horrible bike. Like, it doesn't handle well.
Although the Kenyan contingent were considered the underdogs at the amateur cycling event, they still managed to display their competitive ability as Ayub Katurima won stage 3 while his fellow countryman Joseph Gishora won stage 6.
I tried to manage myself, like to go on my, not to go to the limit, so like I will not drop my pace.
Reporting for Citizen Sports, I'm Bernard Ndong.
Now, First Lady Margaret Kenyatta extended her training to Tokyo, Japan, where she also launched the 3rd edition of the First Lady's Half Marathon, the 2016 edition. The First Lady ran a 5-kilometer race around the Emperor's Imperial Palace in a chilly morning marked by a light drizzle. The marathons are aimed at creating awareness and mobilizing resources to fund Beyond Zero activities, especially the acquisition of mobile clinics that the initiative has been distributing to the devolved units. The marathon launch took place alongside a women's conference.
Japan is a country well known for its sporting culture, and where some of the greatest Kenyan marathon champions, including my personal coach, Douglas Wakiuri, Eric Wainaina, and the late Samuel Wanjiro, honed their world-beating prowess.
Now, hundreds of Syokimau residents participated in the inaugural Syokimau road race held yesterday at the Mount Sinai Primary School. The road race saw residents run 2.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers and 10 kilometers. It was held in a bid to champion for the construction of sports facilities in the area. Now, this event will henceforth be held annually, with the main aim being to address any special issues affecting the community. And finally, the 2015-2016 English Premier League is fast becoming a season of surprises, with the so-called small teams pulling out the rug from under the feet of the big teams. Manchester United were the latest victims to suffer an embarrassing 2-1 defeat to Swansea, their 3rd consecutive loss to the Swans. Earlier on, Southampton beat Norwich 3-0. Here are the highlights.
Got away from Ayew. Shaw's cross towards Rooney.
Automatically have meant that Ayew says I'll try and get there. The cross is intended for Rooney, he misses it.
And Sigurdsson is wide. In by Sigurdsson. Ayew! What inch! Confirmed by Gorky Sigurdsson too. Ayew beautifully shaped for Gomez! Who's rolling under Romero and given Swansea the lead from behind. 4-4. Command Kintsuno. Now Mane. Possibilities here. That's what they needed. Graziano Pella. First half stoppage time. Lovely ball across. Unexpected too. Cedric.